Okay, so now we want to talk about converting hexadecimal to decimal. Right? So let's do converting hex to decimal. And so let's take a number like, I don't know, 9, 1, a 5. Okay, let's take this number here. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to label the digits. And so it's a 16 to the 1, which is 16. Oh, I'm sorry. 16 to the 0, which is 1. 16 to the 1, which is 16. 16 to the 2, which is... Ooh, I'm going to just like double check my chart over here. 256, and then 16 to the 3, which is 4096. And so what you want to do is take this number and multiply it by that number. Okay, so I got 5 times 1 is 5. I'm going to start over here because we're going to get to really big numbers. And then we have a times 16, and in hexadecimal we have 0 to 9, and then 10 is represented by the letter A. And 11 is represented by the number B, 12 is represented by the number C, 13 is D, E, and F. So we got 14 and 15. So this A would be 10. So plus 10 times 16, which is 160. And then 1 times 256, so we're going to add 256 to this number. And then we're going to do 9 times 4096. So I'm going to break out my calculator and say 9 times 486, enter. Okay, well, for some reason my calculator's not working. But that's going to be some number x, and we add all that together, and that's how we get our decimal representation of a hexadecimal number. Okay, and so now you want to go from decimal to hexadecimal. So how do we do that, right? Converting decimal to hex. Okay, so let's take a number like 1017, and let's convert that guy to hex. So the first thing you want to do is label your digits, just like we do with binary to decimal. And you want to think about, does that number fit into that number there, right? Well, it does not. So so we're going to come over. Oh, no, I'm sorry. What you want to think is this number bigger than this number? And it is not bigger than this number, so we can ignore this digit. Is this number bigger than... Oh, I'm not sure how to explain this. Is this number bigger than this number yet smaller than this number? Okay, and yes, this one is bigger than this number yet smaller than the next digit over. So what you want to do is you want to figure out how many times does this fit into that. Okay, so then we think about it, and I think it's about 3 times, right? So this digit would be a 3. And then we would do 1017 minus 3 times this number here. So that number would be 8, 1, we get 15, 16, and then we get a 1 here, so that's 6, that's 7. So minus 768, that gives us a 9, a 4, and a 2. So 249 is left over. And then you want to think about how many times does 16 fit into 249. So you might need to break out your calculator, which is something that's not working on my computer right now, but maybe I can bring up a calculator online, and I could just punch in some numbers. I'm going to do 16 times 9 is 444. But if you remember, in hexadecimal we have 16 digits, right? So we got up to 15. So I'm going to do 16 times 14. That's 224. I'm going to do 16 times 15. That's 240. So that's my number. So times 15. Let me double check that. 16 times 15. Yes. So this is going to be a 15 here. And if you remember, 15 in hexadecimal is represented by the number F. So I'm going to put F right there. And then I'm going to subtract F, or 15 times 16 from 249. So 249 minus 240 is 9. And then you want to think, what do I need to multiply this number here by to get 9? And that is 9, right? So this decimal number here, if I wanted to convert it into hexadecimal, would be 3F9. Okay. So that is Hexadecimal to hexadecimal.